Hi, everybody. This is Norm DeVay with Copa Health, and this is the Copa Roundup for the first Friday in June. That's right, June 3rd. We are so excited because I know the cooler weather is coming, and we're going to have a really, entertaining summer where we'll all be able to go outside. Oh, wait, no, I'm joking. The heat is coming our way, but that's okay because June is also National Pride Month. I believe it's national, maybe it's International Pride Month. And we've got a great guest with us today. Dr. J, don't call me Adam Worley, is joining us today. And he is a Copa Health counselor out of Metro. And actually, it's interesting because Dr. Worley was also one of the interns through Dr. Medina's program last year. And he did so much good just in that program that we're so excited to have him. Dr. Worley, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you. It's been a beautiful day and a full caseload, so I'm happy.
Well, you're happy, I'm happy, and I'm sure the people that you're helping are really happy. But you're doing okay, your health is good, and you're looking forward to the new changes out of Metro that are coming?
Yeah, I heard about our new building coming, so I'm super excited about that. My health is great. I wake up the side of the dirt, so things are good.
Okay, I can never get too much of that statement there, so thank you. Hey, Dr. Worley, can you tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about your work with COPA and your work with the LGBTQ plus community?
Absolutely. So I'm currently a therapist out here at the Metro Clinic for COPA. I did as you mentioned before, I did my postdoc with Dr. Medina, and who is currently my supervisor, as well as I'm in the process of getting and studying for the EPPP licensure. It's the test that all doctorate level individuals have to do through the Arizona State Board. So as you can see, I have my monstrosity right here with me. And I'm even making flashcards. So I'm studying. My test is in August, so I'm super nervous and excited about that. As far as the work that I do, I treat individual people who are LGBTQ and suffering from a variety of issues, from depression, through discrimination and harassment. I've also done couples and families therapy with LGBTQ individuals, as well as cisgender and allied individuals. I do work with the transgender population as well. And I have a wonderful team here, like Katie Lubicki and Janina. I never know how to say Janina's last name, to be honest with you, but she's one of our nurse practitioners, and Savvy and some of the others. They're amazing people, and they are a great support system for me as well.
Well, the nice thing about not knowing how to pronounce somebody's last name, they get to be known locally, nationally, and internationally by their first name only. So we will just go with that. She's going to be a rock star in her field too. So, June is Pride Month. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of Pride Month? And obviously, I think so many people that have watched this in the past know this, but tell us again why it is so important.
So Pride Month is important for a number of reasons. So obviously, everybody thinks about June 27th of 1969 and the 28th, where the police raided the Stonewall bar, and there were violent conflicts with the individuals therein. And of course, there were following sort of, protests that came the day after and the day after that. And then a year later, on the 27th of June, the 1 year date to that mark, the first Pride was celebrated. And so they began to demand equal rights, to be treated with human dignity, respect, and empathy, just as human beings to begin with. And so it's important for that reason, but realistically, I have to say Pride is so much, and history for the LGBT community is so much deeper. There are prayer texts dating back to ancient Assyrians and their faith, where they prayed to the gods that they believed in to celebrate marriages and unions between same-sex couples. Philip of Macedonia was the first leader who ever beat the Sacred Band of Thieves, a group of 300 Greek military individuals who were also lovers. And so we have this ancient history with LGBTQ individuals. In Japan, in Imperial Japan, during the Edo period, you have Shudo, or the way of men, where the samurai were lovers and providers and protectors of each other, as well as their community. And then, of course, you can look back at Zeus and Diomedes and so many other myths in our very rich history. And so the LGBT community has never not existed. And I have to say pride is important because it's not, and as hard as I think this is for some folks to get, it's not about being gay so much, or straight, or any of these other things so much as it is about having self-respect, self-love, about saying that I am human and that I hurt and that I have joy just like you do. And that I hope that you can see that in me. That I hope that you can understand that I love because you are capable of love. I'm filled with pride, this pride, because I think it's important that we as human beings reach out to our fellow man and we say, you're brave, not because you're not afraid, but because you're afraid and you're out here doing it anyway. Because you recognize that there are people who will target you for being able to show love in ways that they don't understand. And yet here you are. And I'm filled with pride that there are people in our community who are out there saying to the young ones, hey, I remember what it's like to be you. I remember when I was being harassed and targeted, and it gets better. The Trevor Project, 1 in 10, and so many others. And I am so proud to be a part of an organization that supports the LGBT community and has so many wonderful allies like Dr. Medina, who does wonderful, wonderful teachings on working with trans individuals and many others. And I'm very, very proud to be associated with a company that has its leader in Dr. Najafi Piper, and who, was also one of my trauma professors and talked about these sorts of issues with us. And so I'm super proud and privileged to be here.
Yeah, it's interesting, Dr. Worley, because I'm, and I hate to put it this way, but I'm a middle-aged white guy, but I am still surprised when I hear that even back in the 60s, that people had to demand equal rights. It never has made sense to me, whether it was because you're a person of color, whether it's a gender situation, whether it's a nationality. It just never made sense to me. But I'm just so grateful that I get to be part of an organization that really does advocate for equal rights for all. And it's not just rights, it starts with rights. That should be a basic thing, but then understanding and basically inclusion too. So, when we talk about that, can you tell me a little bit what we can do? By we, I mean me, people watching this, people in the community, people that work at Copa Health, or anybody that's watching, to help the LGBTQ plus community, feel more accepted, be more accepted, and basically be understood.
Well, yeah, I think there are lots of things. And I do want to answer that, but I want to step back for just a moment. Evolutionary psychology says that we are what we are because of the places and times that we evolved and developed in, right? And there was once upon a time when we didn't have our fancy houses and cars, and we lived in nature. And those of us who exist today are because our ancestors lived in a spot where when they saw the bush rattle, they didn't actually go check to see if it was a saber-toothed tiger or a bear, oh my, right? They just assumed and left it alone. Some of the curious people, as great as they were, they got eaten. And so it's human nature to fear, to be cautious around those things that we don't know and don't understand. And that's okay, because it has a survival purpose, right? It's adaptive. And that feeds directly into your question, which is, how do we help others? We risk. We take a risk of being a little bit more curious and a little bit more adventurous than maybe some of our ancient ancestors were. We take the risk all the time of getting in our cars and driving, of loving another person and risking rejection. So if people of any age, of any gender, of any ethnicity, of any background can say, this is not who I am, and so I don't know what it's like to be you, but I would be curious about what your life is like. Or if you are different than me and you are feeling alone and afraid, I will still walk with you. I will walk with you into that building. I will walk with you down this path. I will be there to provide you moral, emotional, and whatever other forms of support that I can. Those are the things that we can do. We can say to somebody, how are you, and mean it. We can be willing to take the risk to confront people who might not otherwise face being confronted. And it doesn't have to be aggressive. You can simply say, you know, I've heard what you said, and I can understand how hurtful that might be to somebody else. I wonder what it would be like for you if you had been on the receiving end. That doesn't require a fight, it's a question, right? I wonder. And if we can put ourselves in somebody else's shoe, if we can walk, as the old saying goes, right, walk a mile in their shoes, then we understand what it is to be human. And that's how we help not just the LGBT community, but every community.
Yeah, I like that so much. You know, it's, to me, it all comes from a point of a willingness to try to understand, a willingness to try to understand. Understanding is a difficult thing. I just don't believe there's going to be too many situations where I'm going to run across a saber-toothed tiger and, you know, have to deal with that. So, but I know there's very few people that I've ever met. In fact, I want to say there's no one that I've ever met that I haven't been able to try to understand. And in that trying alone, I think it really makes a difference for me. But that's just Norm Duvet. And I've been around a long time, but you know, so anything else that you want to add, Dr. Worley?
You know, I think the most important thing that we can do as mental health professionals, in whatever capacity we do this work in, and just as human beings, is we can say that you are seen. And while I may not intrinsically understand everything that you're going through, I will absolutely do my best to be here alongside you. And that's the core of what therapy is. It's holding a space for another human being and helping them figure it out. That's why I love what I do. That's why I love and got my doctorate in clinical psychology. And I think if we can just do that as a basic routine thing, right? I see you, Norm. I know that today you are feeling X, Y, or Z, and I want to give you my support. That feels good for everybody.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And, you know, I have to tell everybody, and I think I did this last month when we were talking about Mental Health Awareness Month. You know, we have these days, these weeks, these months where we celebrate a certain faction, a certain group that we want to really promote, or a certain idea or effort. And just like Mental Health Awareness Month, just like Pride Month, just like Christmas, every day, Christmas, whether it's, you know, the holidays in general, it could be Kwanzaa, it could be, you know, Hanukkah. Every day should be spent, you know, with those same thoughts and actions and, you know, feelings in our heart. But these are the days that in June where we're talking about this subject, and we're trying to make sure that we kick it off for the next year so that people have a better understanding. And a huge part of that is what you do for us, Dr. Worley. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me today. I deeply appreciate it.
Well, I really appreciate it. And I want everybody to know that Dr. Worley has been very flexible in being with us today. I've been having a rough week health-wise, and he jumped around a little bit. So, you know, I really appreciate that, Dr. Worley. And we hope that you are doing well, and we hope that everybody out at Metro and on the West Side is doing well. And we're looking forward to hearing from you more.
Thank you so much. And I hope you feel well soon.
Yes, I'm on the mend. So, hey, everybody, that is our Copa Roundup for this week. You know, next week, I'm going to have a, well, I call him a colleague because we met through work, but he's also a really close friend of mine now. He and his wife both are friends of mine. They have 2 daughters who have autism. So we are going to be celebrating Autism Pride Day in June. And just like the month of June with Pride, the Autism Pride Day actually modeled itself after the Pride movement. So we are so looking forward to that. Autism is another situation where people just don't understand, and they're often fearful because they don't know, and they're just so wonderful. So we're looking forward to having Patrick McNamara on next week and seeing everybody to talk a little bit about autism. But hey, go out and share this information with people. Go out and talk to people about how they're doing. It doesn't really matter what their sexual orientation is. Everybody has a story, and everybody deserves to be listened to. So until next week, everybody, take care, stay healthy. Try to stay healthy. I've been trying, and we will see you all on June 10th. Take care.